The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
Good morning, happy Saturday, Go Country listeners. Today we have a very special guest. I'm going to let Kristen introduce.
Today we have Jack from the coolfactor.com. And whether you're an athlete or you're just someone that's into your health and your wellness, or you're just someone like me that's super stressed out all the time and needs a little help from experts on how to calm down and take more control of your health and your mental state, I think that you guys are all in for a real treat. And you don't have to be an athlete or some crazy person that's into sports. It's just you can really benefit from just the relaxation component, and that is what I think is so inviting to make this something that everyone would be excited about.
And so for everyone listening out there, we are talking about Cool Factor today, and we're going to get all into that. But before we do, I'd like to do a quick little icebreaker because we always like to make our guests feel welcome. Or uncomfortable, just depending. So I think maybe today, why don't we do your highs and lows? So Jack, why don't you give us a high from this week and a low from this week?
Ooh, great. I am, the highs this week is I was able to get my sliding glass door finally fixed because it was always open and letting in bugs all the time. And the low for this week is I think we lost the deal that we should have had, but that's just life in general. But
hey, that happens, but I'm glad you got that window fixed. I feel you with those critters. Kristen, how about you?
Underestimate, I have a drawer in my kitchen that, it needs a new nail or something, or I think my husband tried to glue it, but every time I open to get a Ziploc bag, it falls apart. Yeah, and so people really underestimate the sliding glass door not completely working, or the washer and dryer not functioning, those little things.
Yeah, I mean, I just think isn't it kind of funny with the junk drawer? It's always broken. It really is.
It's always broken.
I feel like my junk
or overfilled.
Yeah, my whole life. All right, Kristen, what's your high and low for the week?
Okay, so my lows are my kids have been out of school for about 3 weeks now, and I completely underestimated this whole work full time with 2 to 3 kids at home with me every day while doing consults and projects and Zooms. And so I have probably lost my what every day. And so that's definitely my low. And just really trying to self-reflect and being Kristen, chill out. We're going to get through it together. But looking back, I think my husband told me I was parenting too hard. And my gut instinct was be well, what the heck do you know? You're not doing it. And then after I slept on it, I was like, okay, I probably am overreacting more than I usually do, which is a lot.
You got 3 little kids, though. That's a tough job.
Being a lawyer is significantly easier than running a house with 3 kids who are literally fighting over the air they breathe 90% of the time. My high was that I think my high is we are heading on vacation on Saturday with actually not my whole entire family. We're heading with my parents, and this is something my parents started creating where they're taking each kid and just our family so that the grandparents can maximize all the playing time, see how soccer minded I am, all the quality time with the kids. And so I'm super excited. We're going to the Diamante Resort in Cabo, which I just started looking at yesterday, and I think Tiger Woods owns the golf course. And they have this lagoon, and it looks to die for. So that is my high. I'm trying to not lose my, at least every hour while I'm there, maybe once a day. That's kind of my goal. But yeah, and I don't have a soccer tournament for the first time in 8 weekends.
Ooh.
So that is a high.
Yeah, that's a high. And well, hey, when you want to go on vacation without your kids and just relax by a pool, you know who to call.
I know. Me and Sam and I have been trying to plan this for, 3 years now.
Yeah.
So one of these days we will get there without any third parties or children.
Definitely. Well, my high is kind of cheesy. Just being able to do this show today is just fun. So it's a nice little breakup from life, and Kristen and I really enjoyed that. So happy to share that. I got a good low. Kristen's gonna like this. I lived my nightmare this week. I was just hanging out, working along, and my boyfriend walks back into the office and goes, "I need you to not freak out." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like,
It's a great preface.
"There's a giant black snake in the bathroom." Yeah, inside. A huge snake, which apparently is a garden snake, but I don't trust it. I texted Ron, who our listeners may know. He's a pellet specialist, and on the side, he's also like an exotic snake breeder. And he was like, "No, this thing's non-venomous." But anyways, after calling the maintenance guy to remove the snake, we lost it. So now
How did it get in there?
I don't know, and it doesn't. It's nowhere to be found. But if you hear me scream, it might.
We know.
That honestly, that would. I don't know that I think I would have gone to a hotel. I'm not.
It's
gonna
my
lie.
nightmare. It's literally my nightmare, and everyone's like, "It's fine," and I'm like, "No, I'm living my life."
Oh,
Listening to the maintenance guy go, he was in there for a while. He comes out and he goes, "It's gone." Okay.
oh my gosh.
Well, I had a good low this week. A good low.
That. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know that I could have gone back and just like slept. I mean, snakes and rat tails. We all know those are the absolute two things that I am terrified of.
Yeah, and I'm an adrenaline junkie, but snakes. That's No, we're working through that.
Slithering up your legs in your bed and not.
We just
one day at a time, guys.
Yeah, we have 10 acres of land here, and they're building a new complex up the road, and so there's been lots of animal displacements. So we just found a rattlesnake, a baby rattlesnake, on the property.
Yep, let that thing on in, rattle away.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is
okay. Now, Jack, I want to know where the heck you have 10 acres at.
In San Antonio.
Okay. I love San Antonio. Yes, in California, we definitely don't get that very often. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. I love San Antonio. I actually, a couple of my very good friends have moved out to that area, and I took a trip there a couple years ago for 4th of July, and I fell in love with that whole Riverwalk area. And I love the vibe out there.
Yeah, it's primed for a new fun change with what the Spurs are doing downtown. So it's going to be fun over the next 5 or 10 years with that reinvestment in building a really cool downtown area. Not that it's not cool already.
Yeah, we went to kind of like a downtown eating area, and then of course my kids found a pickup soccer game to start. But it was pretty cool. It was like a food court but outside. And I think Texas is probably going to be one of the first states that we branch out to here very soon.
They're going to need it.
All right, well let's dive into it. Sam, start with grilling them.
Yeah, Jack. Well, first of all, just for our listeners, what is Cool Factor?
Yeah, Cool Factor. So we are a mobile cryotherapy and recovery service. So we, instead of placing all these amazing modalities in brick and mortars and having to drive to them, we bring them to you. So most of the focus right now is on the youth sports space or high competitive athletes, races, tournaments of that nature. But we provide full body cryotherapy, the leg compressions, massage guns, percussives, foam rollers, and just really try to bring wellness and awareness to recovery to youth athletes to help them in their lovely sport journey.
And that is such an amazing thing, just as, a former soccer player myself, like we didn't have a lot of that growing up. There wasn't a lot of recovery. There wasn't a lot of communication. It was kind of like have an orange slice, drink a water bottle, and a
orange
Gatorade.
Orange slice Gatorade, throw some dirt on it, and get back out there for your third game in a day.
Yeah, and I can still feel those injuries. I tell you what.
Yeah, we didn't even have hydration really. If you look back, I mean, I remember being fed sugar cubes and pixie sticks, going into like a championship game where it would be like your 4th game, and and even when you're like in your teens, I mean, I remember being like junior, senior years of high school, like where your body's definitely gotten it needs more recovery than it does when you're 8 years
Yes.
old, and looking back, I'm like, even in college, I mean, Sam and I both played college soccer, you played professionally. I don't even think that the recovery was anything close that it should have been.
No.
No.
There was a very cold
There's
pool that you had to sit in. I remember that.
Yes, yes, the ice bucket.
exactly the ice cold baths, and that's as a former professional athlete, that's the thing that you had to do. It was there. You can do hot and cold, that contrast. But that was kind of the birthing and the ethos of Cool Factor is, how do we make it not as, because it's a stark experience going into a cold plunge. You either love it and it's going to be something you do forever, or it's something that you're never going to
Torture.
do again.
Yeah.
So the benefit of cryotherapy is really the inverse, right? So it gradually slows your body temperature, get your body temperature down to that 60, 65 degrees to really help with that inflammation. And then once you get out, all of that good blood flow comes back to your extremities, and you get that really cathartic experience of like, oh, this is why I do this.
How long does that take? Does it vary?
It varies on unit, or I guess of cryotherapy machine, but it's somewhere around 3 to 5 minutes. So, for the younger athletes that are under 12, we recommend around 90 seconds in there, just because of body composition. And then as the more extreme people, there's lots of different versions where the machines have lots of fans to blow air, airflow and cold. I guess they call it the chill factor. So it's a really exciting experience to do the next iteration of our vehicles, which are electric mobile cryotherapy, where then you have a lot of autonomy to control the temperature inside the unit, which
Wow.
is that personalized experience to how cold do you want to feel.
Yeah, I need to talk to my big boss and see if we can just get one of these in the office because I think it would be a game changer. Because it's funny, they actually built this beautiful, I'm not going to call it a spa, but I forget the name of it, but it's in our area. It has cryotherapy, it has like a salt cave. And I've been wanting to go, I think, for 2.5 years. And I've never even actually like made it a priority and gone because I just know that I don't have the time to make it a commitment and to do it weekly. I just don't. And so I'm like, why go? My luck, I'll go sign up for a membership. I'll go once in a year and I'll pay $200 a month. So I'm trying to, minimize
Yeah.
those obligations. But I can tell you, I actually met Jack. We were we were at a soccer tournament and over
Rise
at
to
Silver
life.
Lakes, and my kids saw the setup, and my kids are fearless and always want to try everything, and so I walk up and I'm checking it out, and I'm like, man, I want to get in this thing. This thing, it was, it wasn't that hot. I think it was in March. And they had the really cool leg stimulation. And, Riley's 11 now, and she plays so hard and so aggressive that I do notice that her body is starting to need recovery. And this applies to anybody, runners, golfers, track stars, soccer, baseball, basketball. And frankly, I think it applies to all the parents that are sitting on the sidelines when it's 100 degrees. And, we're just stressed out a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna get me a weekend pass. So
Yeah.
of course, knowing my kids, they didn't want one session, and so I'm looking at the menu, and I'm like, oh man, we're just getting the weekend pass. So my 8-year-old and my 11-year-old got the weekend pass. I ended up meeting Jack's one of his employees, super nice, very professional setup. They had like slippers for the kids. It was like the big giant slippers. They had robes for them. And then they would set up them in the leg simulation. So I think they would do that first, and then they would go do the cryotherapy. At some point, I looked back at Brody, and he is I think he was passed out with the leg thing, simulator. And then Riley's listening to like an audio book, and I was just dying. But it was really, really, really cool. And so I just started talking to Jack, and I was like, how do we get this out there? How do we bring this more into like everybody's life? Because I don't think people realize how much everyone can benefit from this.
Absolutely, Kristen. I think you said it at the very beginning of this conversation was you don't have the time for it. Time is the most valuable commodity that we have, and that's really the ethos of Cool Factor and making it mobile. Yes, we don't have all the fun modalities of a salt room and a full on sauna steam room, But we're going to come give you, what we think are the core modalities to improve performance. And, yes, this was built in athletics, but it's meant for everybody. It's meant for you at your office, right? And that's the beauty of the business model of being able to drive up to someone's office and offer it during the day as an employee perk and benefit. And then now that fun part of, going back to the things that we, as ex-athletes that we love on tournament weekends is to give back to those kids and start educating them. And you mentioned the robes and the slides, like, the slides are big, plushy Air Jordans. They're not, the typical slide that you would put
No, the kids
and
love
the,
them.
and the robes are, super capes, superhuman capes. So it's trying to now, how do you make recovery fun, right? Because most of the places you go to, and I go to a bunch of them, they're sterile. It's not, it's a serious thing because recovery is a serious business, and you're getting IVs, and they want to make sure it's clean. But when we're out in the world, we want to make it fun and now educate the benefits of these things, and the way to do that is, and that's the ethos of the name is Cool Factor, is we wanted to make it cool. Like, how do I do something that's Instagrammable? Or if I'm
Yeah.
wearing something, how do we be able to post it and now have it go through the social media ether, which I'm still not as versed on as I should be.
Well, Jack, that is very cool, and I mean that.
It takes, and the whole Instagram thing, it takes time, Jack.
Yeah.
I think I literally started a TikTok years ago, and I think I finally had my third post like probably last night at 1 a.m. So we're right there with you. I think my daughter, I actually have to, I had to have her show me what the TikTok shop was, where everything for shipping is like $20. So it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the TikTok shop.
Yeah.
But I love what you're doing, Jack. I love, I think you need to maybe set up like a margarita station next to the Cool Factor for the parents. I might defeat the whole recovery thing, but
Yeah.
I'm with you there. I'm with you.
There's amazing sponsors out there that are, we're always looking for amazing sponsors and brands to come in and offer those fun things where we become part of that recovery lounge. So I've had some very cool conversations again with with some of those brands to bring that offering. So
Well, I think the Custody Queens will have to come in for one of the big tournaments. I know we have a few coming up for the rest of the summer. Maybe Custody Queens can come in and we can maybe get like a taco guy or margarita thing and sponsor and do something with you, because we always like bringing in the community and collaborating with people that just bring a benefit to life. Right. And Brody wanted to go home with those shoes, by the way. He literally was asking me ask him, Mom, ask him, we buy them?
yeah,
And I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
yeah,
But
the order's coming over, so we'll figure out something.
now, and in 2 days, each of my kids did the cryotherapy 3 or 4 times and the leg stimulation 3 or 4 times as well. And Brody came home with the championship. So I think it was doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to bring it to the office, Sam. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was hoping that you were thinking that.
Oh, I am definitely thinking that. I already got a list. Okay, let's see. Friday afternoons, once a month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Office morale.
Yeah, and
That's
if we're
right.
thinking about time, it's 3 minutes versus trying to figure out how I can carve in 3 hours. And that's the thing. Like when we go get a massage or we want to even getting a facial, anything, with kids, mostly it's like I have to plan a whole afternoon. But this, hey, they come to me and it's 3 minutes and I'm in and out. Like
Yeah.
that is life changing for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if anyone out there wants to collaborate with Cool Factor, how do our listeners get a hold of you, Jack?
Yeah, you can find us on social media, which I'm still getting used to, at Cool Factor Cryo. And if you want, my cell is 310-808-3999 for any of those companies or tournaments that want to get access.
Very good.
Yeah, and not even just tournaments. For anyone that has a business, for everyone listening on Go Country, for all of you business owners, all of you event planners, like this is really something that I think the people of Southern California would absolutely love. And I just think it's just an added benefit to any event that we're doing. So all of our Go Country listeners, thank you so much for joining Sam and myself and Jack today. And for everyone, remember, we are the Custody Queens. We are here for everything, and not just custody and legal advice. We are actually here for real life advice. So if you need information regarding Cool Factor or Jack, please reach out to either Sam and I on Instagram too, and we can get that info over to you.
Now, Jack, you mentioned that you're big on education, and that struck me because Kristen and I really preach that every day. Being a family law lawyer and lawyers, we always want to make sure that our clients really make meaningful decisions and things like that. So are there common misconceptions or things about cryotherapy or about your business that people ask about that you're typically trying to educate on?
A lot of it is about, as a service provider, the modalities that we have are the selling tools. So it's more just the curiosity of cold therapy. What's the benefit? When should I use it? And or the leg compressions. And I think, the real driving question is it's so individualized, just like your nutrition. It's so individual to how your body absorbs or digests whatever you're putting into it. Same thing with recovery. There's some science and some logic to waiting a certain period of time before you do cold therapy. There's stuff saying, the different wellness practitioners that are out there that are, on Instagram, promoting a lot of these different things. They have their own protocols. We have our own, but it's more along the stretch and recovery side, to make sure that the teams are or people are being serviced the right way. So it's more of a recovery thing, and cryotherapy is the extra.
Yeah.
But it's just making sure people are aware of, hey, this is out there. Continue to use it, and if it makes you feel better, there is a science behind it, and you should probably go explore that with all the way down to your blood type. All those different unique factors play into how a human being recovers, or how exposure makes people feel.
That's incredible to hear. And it sounds like you're doing amazing work. When you are typically maybe working with youth and children and athletes and things like that, do you get a lot of, like Kristen was saying, parents or people that are maybe, us former athletes not ready to put our cleats totally away that just want to try it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that being at these youth sports tournaments, from a brand side and also from Cool Factor service side, it's an extremely captive audience, because you're going to have former athletes have children, and they're going to go to those events, and either if they've been exposed to it or not, they will try to help educate. Um, but I guess the question, the parent side of it is one that I'm really excited about, or even just adults passing by, um, because that is the influencer.
Hmm.
Typically in a home is try to figure out how we can get mom and dad to get behind it, to start ingraining the right behaviors into the process, because that nature nurture conversation probably comes up a lot,
Hmm.
and it's really one of the things that we try to strive for is how do we educate? Yeah, we're going to do it from both sides. One, we're going to make it fun for if the kids are using on tournament weekends, but also educate the parents to make them feel better, because they work, there's stress, there's all those things. We just try to the marketing side about it is athletic recovery,
Right.
but recovery as a whole, health and wellness, it's all there for the taking, and that's kind of why we've decided to work with a lot of these youth clubs and give the benefit back to the parents, because that's the captive audience. They're going to have to go drop off those youth athletes, and
Right.
now the club can offer something back to those parents to keep them to stay around.
Hmm.
Really start building that community with inside the clubs, that we grew up playing in. Right? It's
Right.
I had the great experience of my parents, and even in college, they would travel with somehow they made friends. I don't know how they made friends, but they were the
While
ringleaders
you're playing
in.
the game, that's when they're making
Exactly. Yeah.
snap
They're
the point.
now they have chants and cheers, and the stories about the teams I was on are pretty funny, because they were just a rambunctious group of parents,
Right.
positive cheering, but they were
Oh, of
always
course,
present.
positive, always positive. Right?
Yep. Parents
They
are
were
never negative.
exactly.
Or delusional,
Yeah, they
We
never
are
get
not
separated or
delusional.
kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, that's what we want to educate and now have that essentially it's a secondary category for us is going after and talking to the parents outside these youth clubs to offer the services to them because at the end of the day they're the ones that are paying to play in this soccer
Sure.
sports model that we have. Um,
So let me
but
ask
yeah,
you this. How cold is it? How
Oh,
cold
it's
is
cold.
how
It's
cold
cold.
is
how
it and
cold is
how
it?
cold does it feel?
Okay, those are two different things.
I want to know
But
both answers.
It cannot feel as cold as it is, or I don't know how you would get in, right? Like,
yes, so
okay.
the current units that we're operating because they're nitrogen, they get down to, liquid nitrogen comes out and it gets down to negative 200 degrees inside. But it creates that vortex of cold going around, so the body heat and the cold. So it's not actually negative 200,
Mhm.
but the goal is in the 3 to 5 minutes is to cool your core temperature down to that 60 degrees. And that's when you're really, getting the benefit of a cold therapy. But most of the time, it's probably operating around negative 165 and negative 200.
How does it feel? Is it like you're in the produce set or the freezer section at a store? Or it's worse than that, huh? Is it
The
like
first instance is getting into that's what it'll feel like because it's that topical cold, and
yeah.
then as you gradually stay in there, it'll permeate through the
Yeah.
skin to get you
And then
colder.
I mean I haven't done cryotherapy, but I have hung out in quite a few ice baths and then afterwards you kind of get that rush, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. Okay, can I have like just 1 minute? Okay, I promise. 1 minute. I'll make it quick, but I want to, okay. Okay, I know we are running out of time, but don't worry, everybody listening on Go Country. We will have Jack back again. And I can tell you that I actually referred one of my clients over to you, Jack, very recently. Going through a divorce or family law case can be super stressful. And I am a real believer in just really looking at your mental health as a whole and relaxing and mindset and whatever that is for you. But I actually gave a client your information because I think that it's so much more than just the youth sports. And my daughter hurt her knee the other day and I had to ice it, and you would have thought I was torturing her. And there was no way she was going to wait till it was numb. And the first thing I thought of is I need to call Jack at Cool Factor, and why does he not have a booth here this weekend in San Diego? But I know we are completely out of time. So Jack, I will make sure that all of our listeners get your information. If you are listening, we'll make sure that we put it on our Instagram post so that you can go back and reach out to Jack. And also it will be on our Instagrams for Custody Queens on Air and Custody Queens. And thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you this Saturday and every Saturday. Go Country 105.
1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772.